Morning at about 9 o'clock, I made a video report because I encountered a detail from a journal review that's still disturbing. That back on the early on the night of November 18th of 2008, a man sounding like and portraying himself as being Ronald Reagan got into broadcasting confusion. This time saying, "There's the stains, the lines." And what he means is, and that they're very meticulous and precise about it, is that they are pivoting on a medical malpractice that I experienced in Orlando back in 1981 that is mostly these days termed as the stain. And it was formerly a very secret malpractice that wrongly accused that there was a stain of another man on the outer corner of my left eye. Well, I'm not going to detail any more about that. There's other reports that do. But the remark is significant because it's another indication, excuse me, burp, another indication of somebody powerful pivoting on the formerly secret medical malpractice in a very significant way as a beginning of conspiring against others using the medical malpractice of 1981 as a starting point. You know, so when a person uses the term lines, what he was talking about is persons being in lines. And I have experienced more indications about that, and that what they want you to do is envision the people you care about standing in lines waiting to be put into a gas chamber or an oven or something. So anyway, this message was just to remind that for whatever morning, whatever I managed to get, whatever was the content of the video I made this morning was prevented. Throughout the day, there's a being processed label on it, and I don't know whether mentioning names is sometimes inappropriate or whatever. I'm not sure. But anyway, the worry is, of course, like I said before, I voted for Ronald Reagan twice. I thought he was a great man, and I was hoping that he was a very good man, and I wouldn't have wanted to suspect him of anything. But some people that are kind of arrogant of egotism is that maybe they want you to start finding out a little bit better late in life. I experienced actually a clue without realizing that the possibility of danger way back in 1986. In 1985, without delving into too much previous detail, Reagan did comment on occasion, and I'm going to make another message separately pertaining to the beginning of it all. But on one occasion, by around 1986, I was driving my old Mercury Comet, 1974 Mercury Comet. I think it was I was on Longboat Key when, for whatever reason, Ronald Reagan got onto the AM radio in my car and said a message of, "This is something you have to go through all alone." And I remember feeling a feeling of apprehension of what does he mean? This is something that you have to go through all alone. Because back then I was still very much respecting him and without having any suspicions or anything. Well, now it's nearly 30 years, 80, 86, 96, 86. Now it's been nearly 30 years, and I guess I don't remember exactly when, but it certainly is detailed in my journals that starting sometime around mostly since around 2005 approximately, Ronald Reagan started getting it, or a man portraying him exactly, started getting into traffic broadcasting occasionally, and sometimes broadcasted into where I live. And he started to indicate having an orientation actually against the American people of a Hitler kind of orientation. Uh, I don't have any of the other quotes handy at this time, but I wouldn't have wanted to falsify in any way. I'm just saying that he started to indicate. As a matter of fact, on one occasion, he just literally said that he faked his death and that he and others associated with him have decided that they're supposed to just laugh about it. And about pertaining to lines, I remember that after Ronald Reagan's funeral, I didn't see the proceeding, but I did see news scenes of so many nice, considerate, caring American people standing in long lines waiting to pass and respectfully consider Ronald Reagan when he was supposedly placed in the Capitol Rotunda. And what I continue to hear broadcasted at me again very intensely today. Everyone hears it. They don't necessarily hear all the detail that I know, but they certainly hear that there's a continuing confusion. And what they want you to envision instead is that they'd be taking all those good and trusting people out of their houses and lining them up to be burned or gassed or something. And it's really a very difficult matter. Only very recently, probably within the past around 4 or 5 years, I heard it alleged that Ronald Reagan was actually in some way related to some family members whom mostly I don't know, out west mostly. And if so, of course, that affiliates him with some whom I have reported in writing so many times. I've got a file full of a lot of caring consideration, that there are some who even very loudly and confidently get into traffic broadcasting announcing that they think of themselves as about to have their Lebensraum. That's a term that was used during the Holocaust in the 1940s by some whom think of themselves as planning to get rid of population and replace it with themselves. So of course they victimize innocent people in Germany also. And I'm just hoping that all the good people are saved instead. I've been working like this, concerned for the American people's safety for a lot of years now, and it's really irksome to continue to hear the same threats after so many efforts. But I'm just again hoping everyone remains safe. But this morning, when I was reviewing the journal notes from 2008, when I encountered the assertion about the stain that associated with lines, is that I was reminded that persons of real power had really pivoted on the malpractice as a starting point in their progression of conspiring against our people. And if you'd ever been riding on a bus or walking or whatever and suddenly seen the passage of people, on another bus or whatever, and that everyone's eyes square and everything suddenly changes to a brown color as though they just suddenly got a blinder of film or whatever put across their eyes, everyone, you'd kind of wonder also, and gee, sometimes it looks like the momentary brown film covers from the outer corner of a person's eye in passing momentarily. They blink, the obstruction blinks away, but that there is a manifestation of harmful intent. Now I've reported about that many times also. So anyway, a reminder that some persons of power, including a man whom alleged that he's Ronald Reagan, had pivoted on the 1981 medical malpractice in Orlando, and that we began to see ramifications of it that included momentary, what looks like brown film coverings covering people's eyes, men, women, and children of various races. I will say, I'm glad to say, however, that recently, I haven't seen it happen very recently, but during years up until, just like the most, past couple of years, is that there had been a lot of instances, and including myself. I remember on a bus on one occasion, I saw myself in a reflection early one night, and there was complete covering momentarily also. When it happens to you, you don't notice that there's actually a brown film over your eyes, but others do. And some that are hostile have an attitude of, it only happens if there's something in their head. And you know, there's old men of iniquity whom allege that they're priests who say, whom back during the same time frame were loud in the traffic broadcasting saying that they wanted to go back to a time when there was scalpings. So what they're doing is, including some, of course, as I've reported many times before, whom allege that they're gay Marines, is that they like to cause speculations about the insides of people's heads. They like to cause confusions of communications, and uh, whether there's any deliberate exertion of frequencies or whatever that contribute to the momentary causing of momentary films across people's eyes, I don't know. But anyway, there isn't any way to get too technical about anything in this. But this is a concern for the people's safety. And recently, as a matter of fact, it's only been probably about only within the past year that I was working on something else and encountered an alleged quote of Ronald Reagan. And the quote is, "Freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction." Now, you know, I think that's a real harsh attitude and that it's a warning. And I hope that our people haven't suffered a succession of leadership that really is aligned with a progression of instead of preserving government of the people, for the people, by the people, that instead trying to suppress and you know, let's hope that everyone is saved instead. Have a good night.